This is in response to Dr. Paul Krugman's article in the New York Times on Friday, April 10th, 2015, Where Government Excels. A home run by Dr. Krugman. So we know that there's an election coming up. It's already started now. We're, a quarter of the way into we're getting more towards a third of the way into 2015. The election's still 16 months away or so. And we know what's going to happen in the election in terms of the domestic policy is that, number one, the Republicans are going to scream and yell that the only way to get this country moving again is to decrease taxes for the rich. And that's going to be their playbook. There's lots of dirty tricks. But what will the Democrats do? Where will their position be? What type of populist movement will they be behind? And Dr. Krugman points out that there are several areas where the government excels, and excels very well, and they should just get behind that as opposed to the critical thinking by the elites in Washington that there needs to be entitlement reform. And Dr. Krugman gives an astounding, and I have a double that, is that no, no. So where does the government excel? Well, right now, we know that it excels in health insurance. We know that Medicaid and Medicare are administered by the government. They are funded, well, not funded by the government, they're administered by the government, and we know that their expenses are less and their effectiveness is greater than the private healthcare system. Because remember, while you're having bureaucrats run this thing, if you want to use that term, creating policies for the benefit of the people involved. When you have private healthcare companies, which are profit-oriented, they have to determine where there's a greater cutoff point because their profitability to themselves, especially to those that are running that company, and to their shareholders, has a greater precedence than actually serving the actual customers of the healthcare system. That's the way it's always has been, and that's the way it always will be, because the profit motivation dictates the kind of care that people are going to get. So we know that Medicaid and Medicare are better systems. We also know that the VA system in the United States, which Dr. Krugman did point out, is also tremendously effective. My understanding is that if I were to move from here down to Florida, up to, if I were to go to Florida, or if I was to go to, let's say, Bangor, Maine, somewhere where I don't live right now, they would have no record and I went to a doctor, they would have no record as to where I am, anything about me. But if I was in the VA system, and I was living, let's just say, in Dayton, Ohio, and I went to Bangor, Maine, and I went to the VA system up there, the electronic records, it goes with them. It goes with me because it's universal. They've done a very outstanding job on that. So there's three great things that the government excels at. And what's another thing that the government excels at? The government excels at Social Security. Now let's get something straight about Social Security. If we just take that if every penny that came out of Social Security had to go into a private thing right now and had been that way forever, remember, all those people on Wall Street would be clamoring for that money and trying to get people in the most ridiculous investments that you possibly can. I remember I used to read the Wall Street Journal quite a bit, and sometimes you're always amazed at what gullible people will invest money in, and people will just take them for a ride. And I remember one maybe 35 years ago where they were indicting some people. It was in a Midwestern state, Oklahoma, Kansas, something like that, who had invested in something where they had said that some people had found a machine that would help them turn sand into gold. And of course, that never happened. And it happens every day. Even with people who are prudent investors get taken to the cleaners by people who are scam artists. And one of the things about Social Security is that money will always be there for you when you get to that retirement age. And Dr. Krugman goes into a long point about people who are 25 years old. How can they determine what it is right now so that they can start investing right now so that they will have a fairly decent income by the time they turn 70? Very, very difficult thing. How do they know that this is a prudent investment and this is not some get rich quick scheme? And the Obama administration just came out recently that people who are financial planners or people in that industry, they need to have a fiduciary responsibility that they are taking care of their customer and not just, we used to use the term churning them just for profits. How do you know that? Well, Social Security prevents that from happening. It's hard to navigate in the financial field. I have a financial background. It's hard to navigate this stuff. And people in the financial field who have been in there for many, many years have the same type of trouble. It's very difficult in the investment world. But one thing we do know, and we do know that it does exist. And, God, am I yellow today? I thought that thing had cleaned itself up. But we do know that Social Security works. And we need to build on that success. We need to continue to build on that success. And right now there are many ways that we can build on that success in Social Security. Number one, we should have a Medicare for anyone 55 and over, because well, I could use it. I just think that maybe 60. I don't know, but I think that would be one way to make it continue to be a success. In the Social Security world, we could possibly raise the Social Security tax, which is now 6.5%, raise it up a little bit. We can increase the amount from $118,500 a year in terms of the cap on Social Security, so that people who make more than that will continue to pay into Social Security. That'll guarantee that Social Security will live and continue on. Perhaps we should tie the Social Security with Congress in terms of automatic pay raises. Not Social Security. Maybe we should try the minimum wage, which the automatic pay raises that Congress has passed for themselves, so that any time Congress automatically gets a pay raise because of the cost of inflation, the cost of living, the same thing should go through for the minimum wage. That would seem like a nice thing to do. So there's a lot of things that we can do, and Democrats need to be bold about this. They need to be a broken record that this is the way to go. We need to increase benefits of Social Security, and we can make it better, and it'll help out the country as a whole. Right now, we're in huge things that are going on, and cutting taxes is not the way to go.